So, yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Cruz have like a really meaty storyline ever since, the beginning of the season where he almost drowned. But what was your reaction when you saw this for the first time in the script?
Hallelujah. I mean, in general, it has been kind of a quiet season for Cruz, but that's what happens when you have 7,000 series regulars on a show, which gladly I'm happy to share the wealth. But yes, this was a really special one. It felt very personal, and to be able to explore something with this much Spanish dialogue was really a joy. It was a challenge in a really new and interesting way, and we just got like insanely lucky with Carlos Sanchez, the kid who plays Javi. I mean, he is. I can't speak more highly of him. It's like it's kind of like hanging out with Otis. Like we just like talk about Marvel stuff and like hang out and crack jokes and like totally bust each other's chops. And I mean, he's like a 40-year-old trapped in a 10-year-old's body. And it's been nothing but a joy. And to be able to have Kristen back in like a really kind of substantial way and give her some really great stuff to do. Like, I just really think they hit the storyline out of the park. Like this one really feels very Cruz appropriate and very Fire appropriate. It just all feels like so a part of the world. And so it was, yeah, it's really been a joy. Total blessing.
Yeah, and in 10 seasons, we haven't really seen a ton of Cruz's heritage, and in the past couple of weeks, we've seen a bunch of it in that relationship with Javi. So what does that mean to you to be portraying that representation on screen?
Well, it's like I've always said, like the fact that I just in general get to play a hero who wears his heart on his sleeve and a Latin man who isn't afraid to cry is like the greatest gift that I could have as an actor. It's so difficult in this business to find those roles that celebrate Latin men as proud and good community members, and I mean, he's so all of that, right? Like Cruz is just kind of the quintessential, I mean, man, I think, and especially as a Latin man who comes from a really beat up, underprivileged community, to be able to show that you can do many things and kind of climb out of a situation and still be someone who isn't afraid to have empathy and heart and show that. It's like it's the biggest honor of my life. It's why they'll never be able to get rid of me on this show. I'll stay here, and that's like they're gonna have to kick me out screaming, like I'm grabbing onto the walls.
I love it. Yeah. So last week's episode, or the one before hiatus, I don't know dates anymore, but yeah, the one before hiatus. Yeah, Cruz went to Severide and asked for Casey's number so that he could get some advice. We never really got to see that scene, but I'm curious, what do you think Casey told him? Because Joe pretty much had his mind made up at that point.
Yeah, I'm glad that you kind of caught that. I do think he did have his mind made up. I think more than anything, I feel like what Casey expressed was what joy there was in the little moments of like being there and like seeing small incremental growth, and just kind of how just his presence there has made a change in tiny little ways. And I think that's so much of what being a foster parent is, that's so much of what just being, I mean, what the show stands for is just like, we're there when you need us. It's like we're emblazoned on the side of every truck. And that's why I think it's, again, such a really appropriate storyline for the show, because it is so much about sacrificing some of yourself for someone else. It's just, they did it so well.
Love it. So in the episode, we see a really sweet scene where Joe and Chloe are kind of dividing up subjects with Javi, just to determine like who's good at what. So we're curious. I mean, if there's one subject that that's going to be your favorite to teach your kid, what subject is that? And what subject would you hate to have to teach your kid?
Ooh, great question. Probably math for sure would be the thing I would hate to have to teach. I am that side of my brain, no computer. And if I had to teach something, I mean, it's funny because I think in the scene, I think like what I take is like reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, basically. And that's so right. That would be the thing I'd want to do. I'd want to like, let's get into the fantasy of it all. Let's break down story. Let's like definitely English art, history. I love history. So I would love to help with the history, but math, no way. No way.
No way. Yeah, I know. I feel that. Trust me. So at the end of the episode, Cruz and Chloe actually decide to let Javi stay on a more permanent basis. And so what can you tease about these remaining 5 episodes? Are we going to see more Kristen and Carlos?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know yet. We're currently, I think, in episode 18 or 19 that we're filming right now. You guys are like right behind us. And as of yet, there's nothing else that we've explored or that I've seen, but there are still 3 very, very large episodes, 4 very large episodes that we have to do. So I'm hoping that you will see more of them. It was single-handedly the greatest part of the year, working with those 2. And but I can't imagine that we're not going to see some semblance of them again in the future, whether it be at the end of this season or the beginning of next.
Nice. And so technically, I guess Cruz and Chloe are kind of fostering Javi right now. Do you think they've had the conversation about adoption yet?
I know that Kristen and Joe have had the conversation about adopting Carlos because that kid is definitely taken home. But yeah, I think it's a conversation that, yes, it just is going to happen. Like, all those moments when you see them kind of wide awake in bed at 3 a.m, just, freaking out. I'm sure that those are questions that are being asked, like, and being explored. And I hope the answer becomes a resounding yes. I really do. I think it makes sense. I think he's great. And to be honest, I think it depends on whether or not we'll be able to get Carlos again, because he's a little bit busy. The kid's working harder than most of us. So yeah, it'll be fun to see if we can actually get these 2 in the same room at the same time.
Nice. So the last time we talked, I think it was at like the beginning of the season, or it might have been right after Cruz found out Chloe was pregnant. I'm getting my seasons mixed up. But something you had said was that, you were pretty sure that Joe would be kind of like almost not paranoid, but like he'd be that dad who's always worried about like, am I doing the right thing? What am I doing? Right. But it kind of turns out, based on these couple episodes, he's a bit of a natural, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been funny watching how they've built fatherhood into Cruz's kind of world. And I think what you grow to learn is like, I think a lot of what he's learned on the job is just applying itself instinctually into being a father. And I think it finds him sort of learning how to be more of a leader. I think you've also seen that Cruz is being, he's running more calls from time to time, and while Severide's off playing fire cop, he's kind of taking control of squad. So I think in general, yeah, he's really kind of grown into the role far faster than I anticipated he would. The great part about playing this character is I never know if they're going to go with a comedic storyline or if they're going to go with something more heartfelt and dramatic, and it can go both ways. And so it's like, so the fact that we can play either one of those worlds is so much fun, and is why it keeps me busy on this job. Like, it's like, I get to do a little bit of everything. And so either way, I still think there's plenty of opportunities for Cruz to stumble along this road of parenthood, and plenty of room for him to shine. So I look forward to both of those things occurring.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you said fire cop, because that made me remember something. Okay. So the fire cop thing, obviously it's like the most perfect name for Severide ever. Was that a writer thing, or did you ad-lib that?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I might have been the first one to say it, and it immediately like caught fire, and then like everybody said it, and then it caught. And I want to say that it's funny because it just feels so right, that it's like, it's hard to know but I'm pretty sure that it was like an on-set thing before it was a writer thing. And you know, Derek, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that. Like, and feel free to straighten the record. But I'm pretty sure one of us, maybe me, said Fire Cop at one point. That became a thing. We all started saying Fire Cop. One of the writers came in, heard it, loved it, and then wrote this whole kind of thing around it.
Brian and I are kicking ourselves that we didn't come up with it first. So I all the credit for that.
I'm still convinced there's a spinoff coming. You know, it just feels obvious.
We said it in a past episode. We were like a Severide and Cruz like buddy cop spinoff. That would be fantastic.
I don't know if I'm worthy enough to be, tagging along with the likes of Severide and Seeger, but you know, if they want me, I'll gladly help. You know, I can be their interpreter.
Yeah, that's funny. So speaking of Derek, we talked to him on One Chicago Day, which was technically yesterday. He had taken the finale to like epic proportions and said this is going to be one of the biggest ones to date. Obviously, he scared us to death, but I'm curious, have you heard anything about the finale yet? Which probably not, it's early, but have you heard anything?
No, nothing except for now. You're the third or fourth person that's been like, Derek has teased this finale as the big, and then I have to go back in my brain and go, we've had some pretty huge finales. Like, I mean, some pretty major events. So what could we possibly, I still don't know how in God's name these writers do what they do. Like, it's like, I've just now recently started taking on writing a little bit. And me and a friend of mine have written this kind of pilot, and it's getting a little steam, and people are looking at it. And then all I keep thinking about is if we actually start moving on this, I have to write 8 more, and that seems impossible. And these guys are doing 22 of these a year, and it is like, you bow down. You just have to, because it's insane. I don't know how they do it.
Right. So I've got one last question. We got to do a little bit of a Marvel roundup. We did it last time we had you on. We talked about Shang-Chi. I don't think we've talked about Spider-Man yet, and I don't think we've talked about Moon Knight. Spider-Man, did you love it?
Love Spider-Man. I think what's so brilliant about the Marvel universe in general is just like how they have opened it up to endless story potential. Like, there is nothing that you cannot do and make sense of, like, there are rules to a world, but Marvel somehow knows how to break every one and then make that 10 more rules. And it's, I think Spider-Man was phenomenal. I think, any opportunity we get to, we love, people who go to these things love movies, and to be able to especially love comic book movies, and to be able to celebrate, that the entire Spider-Man canon in one film was like so fulfilling. Like, it was just, I've already watched it like 4 times, and it's so well written, and I mean, it's so good. And Moon Knight I just saw last night. Moon Knight might be my new favorite thing Marvel has done. Like, it's incredible.
Okay, I haven't started it yet. Are you familiar with the comic?
Very vaguely, and that's why I think I'm really interested in this, because there are some changes from the comic to the live action, but it is serving as a fully new world for me. So just to kind of bring it in, just to see it from there and watch it, not really knowing much about the Moon Knight character, it's super fulfilling. And I think getting to play with, psychological trauma, I think is also a really brilliant way to explore the superhero genre. And I think that's why it's going to be really, really, really well received. And I look forward, more Oscar Isaac, more Moon Knight, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, hear you there. So have you seen the trailer for the new season of The Boys yet?
No, but I have seen Diabolical. Have you seen that at all?
I have. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. It's like ridiculously good. And the storylines they choose, so crazy. And this is what I think you're seeing in the world right now. It's like there's such room for animation to be taken as seriously side by side with live action at this point. Like, you're even seeing it happen on that Lakers show on HBO Max that just recently started. They're playing with animation in their stuff, and it's like, I think it's really finally getting the credit it deserves, because it's so capable of giving us so much more and broadening story. And it's just like, I think Well, we're headed in the right direction when it comes to storytelling right now. And I look forward to seeing what else happens.
Both on Fire and in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, sister, it's all universes, but yes, I agree. Now we're just looking to see how we make the One Chicago Marvel Universe kind of collapse on each other.
Oh, Joe, why you got to go there? Brian and I are going to run with that on the next episode.
Hey, listen, I've been openly campaigning to be the Thing on the new Fantastic Four movie, so you guys feel free to spread that rumor as much as you want.
Gladly. We say a lot on the podcast that Severide's an Avenger. True or false?
Severide's an Avenger? Ooh, hold. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I think Severide is, he may work with the Avengers, but I don't think he is officially an Avenger. I think, he's like one of those, like, I'm trying to think of a good, maybe like Winter Soldier, or even Moon Knight for that matter. Because I feel like that's where that's going. I just feel like Severide's a little bit on the, he's more on the R-rated Marvel world. He's in the Daredevil, Moon Knight, the Defenders series or the Midnight Suns kind of thing. I think Casey's an Avenger. That's your Captain America right there. I think Severide, if he's going to be an Avenger, he's Tony Stark. And I just think he's more aloof than that. Like Tony Stark is so like, hey. So yeah, that's my take on that. I think he works with the Avengers, but is not one. He may be an X-Men.
Oh, even better. I like that.
He could be a Gambit. I could see him as a Gambit. I could even see him as a Wolverine, maybe. Yeah. So I would say maybe Severide's an X-Men.
I love it so much. That's the perfect note to end on, too. Joe, it's always so good to see you. Thanks for chatting with us.
Pleasure's all mine. I appreciate that beautiful little interior car that you have. That's
yeah.
Oh my God, fantastic, girl. Live the dream, baby. This is how we do it.
Car interviews forever.